What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Unplayable, your favorite show about our favorite games. We're one host down today, but we are soldiering on. We've got Jay, Mike, and myself. How are we doing, guys?
So good. It feels like fall. I love it. Finally.
Yep. I turned the heat on in my house for the first time last night.
Nice.
I was just telling David, actually, before you joined, we have a cold front coming through in Florida.
Oh, so it's like 70 degrees.
It's going to be a crisp 75 next week.
Amazing.
Which is so funny.
Wow.
It's like people are getting their snow plows ready down here. You know? Everyone's getting their jackets.
You gotta have a nice puffy coat.
I walk into the Target and it's like they have long sleeves out and stuff and jackets because it's fall. And I'm like, dude, it's literally 100 degrees still. Why do you even sell this? Why do you sell it in Florida, period? Because it's never getting below like 70 degrees.
That's amazing.
That's hilarious.
It's amazing. All right, well, let's jump right in. What kind of games you guys play this week?
You want me to go first, Coach?
Yeah.
Do it.
Go for it.
Okay, sweet. Yep. So since my last podcast, I have played Flesh and Blood several times. I went to the pre-release. I don't know if I talked about that or not. Maybe I did.
I think you did.
But I also went to an Armory event for it was like the last Armory before the new set. And it was the day the set comes out. So I stayed until midnight to be able to crack packs with some friends.
Nice.
And the Armory went really well. It was fun playing some Lexi against all kinds of stank. But the funnest part was after the Armory, but killing time before midnight where we could buy packs, was playing the new Round the Table Tolarian Community College crossover pack 4-player Ultimate Pit Fight box. I got to play it twice with 2 different groups of people, which is really cool. And first game I played the Bard, and the Bard is literally just like giving people tons of tokens and letting them draw cards and giving them resources and singing songs until you build up like this huge combo turn where you do an attack called the Finale. And the Finale is like huge attack. Basically, you can one-shot somebody if you build it up right. It was really fun. It was really cool to play that character, but also seeing all the other characters work together. And then the second time, I had to play the Ninja, which is probably the boringest one out of the whole box. But it was cool because I was attacking the guy that blocks for everybody so that he would have less abilities to try to, or less chances to block for other people because I made him block for himself. That kind of stuff. The box is really well designed, really balanced, and it's super fun and engaging when you have the 4 people to be able to play it with. So I highly recommend playing it if you like that kind of stuff. It's not meant to be competitive. It's meant to be casual and just having fun. I really hope they come out with more stuff like that, and more like Commander is such a big thing in Magic. I hope that we're able to build more decks going forward and not having to buy, like, I don't mind buying a box and it being like board game Flesh and Blood in a box kind of thing, which is cool, but I also wouldn't mind being able to build like Commander decks. There's tons of Commander decks you can build, right? So it would be cool to be able to build more UPF decks in the future without having to buy like a specific product to do it. But it definitely was fun to have decks that were built around playing UPF. So yeah, that was fun.
Is it on TTS?
I'm sure it is.
It probably is, right?
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I feel like we have to play it. Like the
I'm
four
totally
of
down.
us.
I mean, Jim really likes Flesh and Blood too, so he
Jim
would
would
totally
do it
be
for sure.
down to play it.
I'm kind of medium on Flesh and Blood in general, but I'll play this mode for sure. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, I'm totally down. And they actually are doing, I don't know if you heard about this, but they are doing what's called a social kit. And it's like an Armory kit, except it's for this box specifically.
That's cool.
That you have an event at your store, and you play like groups of 4, play UPF, and then you can get cold foil versions of the heroes that are in the box.
Nice.
And that's the only way you can get them.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure it's like locked to retailers. Like you can't just get that on your own?
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's probably like Armory kits having
because it was interesting when Ghost Galaxy bought KeyForge back. Like they were very big on like, because the game had been pretty much dead for a lot of time, like a lot of online clubs and communities. happiness. Anyways, I decided before, I was like, I'm just gonna be happy on this podcast after that last I don't know, trash job of a thumbnail. But anyways, but they basically said like, hey, if you're a community running things on your own, we realize you've been doing the work, you have access to these kits or whatever. But that's I've never seen a publisher do that, and part of it is they had to. I mean, there's just no way to not do it. But I'm always curious if publishers will ever do that again.
Flesh and Blood, or Legend Story Studio, did do online kits for, like, I know Team Covenant hosted online armories for a while, and they were getting kits for online armories, which was interesting. I feel like there is something else that did that recently, but I can't remember. But yeah, I think that would be cool if you. Oh, I was thinking the way pre-release kits are going to work for Star Wars Unlimited is they're kind of that way. You still have to buy them from your friendly local game store, but you don't have to play them there. You could take them home and play them. They're like, I love that you said
friendly local game store, so you can't buy them from your
unfriendly local game store.
Yeah. Right.
Well, you shouldn't buy anything from your unfriendly local game store.
Yeah, you don't want to go buy it in those places. I've been to some of those places, and they ain't worth it.
Nope.
I want to know who coined that phrase, the FLGS, the friendly local game. It feels like the Spider-Man, like
probably
Tabletop. I think Tabletop did the Will Wheaton show.
Oh, interesting. It sounds like an industry conspiracy to me. So
yeah, maybe.
And we all bought in somehow.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing I did over the last week.
Nice.
Mike?
That sounds fun. I've been playing a decent amount of Marvel Snap as always, which has been fun.
I've been doing that too.
Yeah. Jay and I did a Marvel Snap video on the channel, which not very many people have seen, but we had a lot of fun making it. So
yeah, it was a blast. And the people that watched it liked it.
I need to watch it myself. I haven't actually clicked on it, but you know.
Oh, you need to.
It's such a fun game mode, honestly. Like it changes the dynamic of how the game works, because normally when you're just playing on ladder, you have no idea what you're playing against. So you have to keep the entire card pool in your mind when you're making decisions. But when you're playing against the same person, it's like basically a best of like X, and X depends on how much you're willing to wager. And so it means that as you go and as you play against that same person, you're learning more and more about what's in their deck and having to play around different stuff and stuff that you know about, so you can make better informed decisions throughout. And it just like becomes like more like as you're getting towards the end, and it becomes more exciting and like high stakes, you're also sort of at the point where you're making the best possible decisions that you can in that match. And so it's just a really cool like curve of sort of excitement and like, you know, ability to express your skill, I guess.
Yeah. It's really interesting you bring that up, because as always, I got my neighbors into playing Marvel Snap.
Nice.
And so it's him, and he has two sons, and they're all three playing it, and they play against each other a bunch, and which is so cool, because you don't normally, like, Marvel Snap isn't like, I don't feel like most people play against their friends and stuff. They usually just sit in their bed and play or whatever. And he was playing one of his sons a bunch back to back to back. He was like, dude, you're so predictable. You're so predictable. So his son completely changed his deck and completely changed the way he was playing. And then he finally beat him. So it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's very fun. Very fun. Definitely recommend it. Other than that, I've actually been playing a decent amount of Felt Table, playing Star Wars Unlimited, just kind of when I have a little bit of downtime, just trying out different decks and seeing what I can put together. And the AI is not very difficult to beat, but it like gives you a sense of what, you know, the power level of a deck could theoretically be. So that's been fun to kind of mess around with. And then the last thing is that I played a prologue, or played the beginning of the prologue of Earthborn Rangers on TTS, like on the demo with our good friend, our good buddy Lau, and his friend, and it was
It's the only way we can play
a lot of fun.
now.
Yeah.
I know it. Yeah, it
That
is.
game's not even real.
No, but the demo is very fun.
Oh, cool.
So
It's not even
I'll just
real.
play the demo over and over again because I'll never get the actual physical copy.
It's like they have a podcast, they have a YouTube channel that they're
But
posting
no
videos,
game.
but it's completely
It's
fake.
just vaporware. Yeah.
This is Fire Island or whatever that.
Yeah. Fire
thing is.
Festival or
Yeah,
Fire
Fire
Fest.
Oh, fire!
Yeah.
Gosh.
But it's a very, very cool game, Jay. I can't wait for you to play it. It's definitely like, yeah, we should find a way to play together, either webcam or TTS, because it's very, I mean, David, you probably like it too. Like, it's very similar to Arkham, but like in the way that the game plays.
theme
But
that
there's,
you would not hate.
Yeah, exactly. a theme that you'll actually play because you're not, trying to kill 40-eyed tentacled monsters. You're trying to live in harmony with the earth and try and discover fun things. It's
nothing wrong with a little joy
really
and
cool.
happiness.
No, honestly, there's not. It was a very kind of refreshing theme. Like, I haven't played a ton of games that feel like that, and mixing in the narrative with it is just
And
very,
from
very
what I
cool.
understand, it's definitely not one of those. It's like, it's very choose your own, because you could just go in and just kill everything if you wanted to and attack stuff, but that's not necessarily the best way to play the game. Like, you could go and like try to interact with animals or whatever
try to
instead of
connect
just
with them, or
immediately attacking them.
try and like find fruit to pick and try. Which, I mean, maybe over a podcast explaining it sounds boring, but like you still feel like you're playing like synergistic cards together and making fun and interesting decisions with like the challenges that you're presented. Yeah. So I'm very excited to maybe get the physical copy sometime in the far future.
That's good.
Allegedly this month.
It feels like like the type of person that likes the outdoors would like this kind of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like hiker, camper, backpacker.
No,
They might, but they're too busy outside.
It's the kind of person who wants to like the outdoors,
Yeah,
but doesn't
that's
actually
what I
like the
meant.
outdoors. So
That's
it's
what I
me.
meant.
It's basically me, because I can pretend like I'm hiking and seeing the sights, but I can do it from the comfort of my own living room.
They like to dress granola, but they don't want to break a sweat. There's a lot of people like that in my home state of Colorado who they dress the part. They've got the North Face, the Patagonia, but the last time they've been in the mountains was that time in high
it's
school.
a Gorp Core board game.
That's good.
All right. What have you been playing, David?
Yeah.
Well, I was at a family reunion most of last week, so not really.
No games.
Not really.
No games at the family reunion. Not even like traditional card games.
Well, so that's the funny part. The thing, I did play a lot of Uno.
Uno's great. Uno's a great game.
Taught my 5-year-old how to play Uno, and he was like,
Uno.
I was like, you know what? I didn't realize like Uno's a pretty good like entry level game for a 5-year-old. So I was like, I need to do this. And then there was in the place we stayed, it was like this like lodge for 40 people in Wyoming that a family member owns, and it was really cool because like all the rooms are on the outside, and then there's like big central community area in the middle.
That's cool.
I was thinking this, if it wasn't so out of the way, it'd be a perfect like unplayable meetup spot for like games, because there's like a big fire pit in the middle and like bunch of tables.
How long does it take to get there after you fly to Montana?
Well, if you fly to Jackson Hole, it's like an hour. That's the closest airport. It's like an hour from Jackson Hole.
An hour? That's not that bad.
Yeah. So Salt Lake City is like 4 hours. Is like the next like cheaper
that is
option.
bad.
Yeah. So we played it, and then my son found a chess set. And he asked me to teach him how to play chess. Again, he's 5 years old.
Wow.
And the reason he wanted to learn how to play chess is because there's an episode on Bluey.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know this, Jay?
Oh, I've seen every episode of Bluey like 100 times.
Yes. Yeah. So there's an episode in there where the two daughters, who are 6 and 4, want their dad to teach them how to play chess, like with a T. Okay. Because they don't know it's chess. And so my son kept running up to me and saying, "Dad, can we play chess?" And then they call the pawns prawns, and like I had to correct everything he was saying because he's been like formed by this kid show. But we played, and nice. Like it doesn't require reading, so it was like he's picking up on like, okay, this is the only things that these can do. He didn't fully grasp he couldn't understand how the pawns couldn't just go forward and jump on a guy and whatever. But so played a bunch of chess and Uno and
nice.
So in my free time when I needed some time alone, I played a lot of Felt Table on my laptop.
Nice.
A lot of Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah.
Still trying to build the most Megatron Voltron Chewbacca that this world has ever seen. So
heck yeah.
I've gotten them up to do like 16 damage. So I'm trying to see if I can beat 16.
I keep hearing about it, so let's play it.
I need more spoilers. I need more like stuff that can like boost this. Like I'm like, maybe there's an OTK Chewie variant of this Voltron.
Are you gonna play Fallen Lightsaber out of aspect?
Probably, yeah. Everything will come out of aspect just to create the
ultimate Chewbacca.
And then someone will play Asteroid Sanctuary and just exhaust them.
You're gonna turn Chewbacca into Chrysanthemum or whatever.
I need ways to ready Chewbacca so I can make the dream a reality. So just watch out, guys. It's coming. Prepare yourselves.
In other board game news, there's this board game I play called Dune Imperium. I have it right here. Mr. Beast won a Dune Imperium tournament somewhere in the US and won $10,000.
Did you? Yeah, I've never watched a Mr. Beast video in my entire life.
I haven't either.
You should do it just
I'm sure
to see
good.
What it's about.
I'm sure
just
they're
so
great.
You know.
Like, isn't he the most subscribed to person on YouTube?
By far the most subscribed YouTube channel, but also just like the amount of views that he gets is absolutely every single video he drops hits like over 20 million views in 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Kind of thing.
That's crazy.
Like every video he's released in the last 6 videos, each one is breaking the previous record of most views in 24 hours.
Wow. So just a little bit ahead of us.
So
yeah, just a little.
So I was in like a digital media seminar, and they talked about Mr. Beast and his YouTube presence and how much money he spends on thumbnails.
Oh yeah,
and it was several $1,000s for a thumbnail picture.
I mean, I don't. And so I'm like
thinking of him winning this board game tournament. These guys who like need the $10,000.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he gets $10,000 and drops it on 2 thumbnails. You know, like
I just thought it was really cool that he is a board gamer, plays like. Dune Imperium is a very niche.
That's like a very gritty board game, right? Like very chunky,
for sure. It's very like you got to be into board games to play that game.
Yeah,
it's a deck building game with worker placement, and it's like very cutthroat too. Because my dad and my friend Colby played in the tournament at Gen Con and made like top 8 or whatever. But I found it really funny that he played in a tournament for that and won.
Yeah.
So that is crazy.
That's wild.
He also spends way more than that on just a single video.
But did he get one of these?
I'm sure. Oh my God, this guy.
Did he get one of those, Jay?
I can't.
All right, let's move on.
Yes, please.
We got some news from a couple games out there, and so we're kind of talking about this beforehand, but if we did spoilers from like Lorcana and Star Wars Unlimited, there's different members of our audience might be like, okay, I'm not really interested in this, I might tune out. But like news from different games and how they're approaching games in general might be a little bit more interesting, even if you're not into that game, because it's a little bit more of the culture. So you can catch a lot of like our takes on like spoilers and stuff on YouTube videos and things like that. So let's start with there was some KeyForge news. That game that you said was dead, Mike, released some news. Okay, so let's paint the picture. Ghost Galaxy buys KeyForge back from FFG. They crowdfund Winds of Exchange, the next expansion. It raises $1.1 million and whatever amount of backers, and it's mostly released.
Everybody, all 10 people really wanted it to be a thing.
Yeah, all right.
I joke.
Every member of this video backed this project. Okay,
that is 100% true.
So they've been doing vault tours. There was 6 U.S. vault tours, and there's a bunch of like nationals that happened this weekend in Canada and Brazil and somewhere in Europe, Belgium maybe. because next month is the KeyForge Celebration #2, which includes the World Championships and some last chance qualifiers and things like that. So it's kind of building this arc towards some cool things. And so they've announced, hey, the next set is coming. Grim Reminders is the name of the set. And they've decided to use crowdfunding again for this. Jay is so bored, he's leaving the video. He says, BRB. We soldier on, Mike?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So they decided to crowdfund. Maybe I'll should I do I stop there, or do we keep going until like the pledge level?
Let's stop there and talk about that for a second. So they crowdfund the sort of return set, which was Winds of Exchange, and now they are deciding to crowdfund again the next set. So,
and didn't, if I'm not mistaken, they said that they were not going to crowdfund going forward when they initially did the Winds of Exchange, right? Like, yeah. I'm not making that up. I remember them saying this is not our plan for future sets.
And it probably wasn't their plan at the time.
Okay.
But I mean,
I'm not saying anything against it. Like, I understand why they are doing it. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy.
They're probably
not being gaslit.
my guess, I mean, just speaking completely frank and honestly, like, they probably don't have enough retail support to release this set in retail first. So I think that this is maybe their only option.
Yeah.
The people who really are, into KeyForge and love KeyForge will back this and like it. I will be very curious to see where this lands compared to Winds of Exchange. I don't think it'll do nearly as good as Winds of Exchange did, which is probably not what Ghost Galaxy wanted. David, you've speculated a little bit that, like, they're sort of still forging ahead on KeyForge and sort of continuing to stagger along because they're using what they're learning from KeyForge to work on a new potential unique game, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think the set is already designed, right?
It was very early stages. They basically said there were some concepts that were developed and maybe some cards.
They probably had all the art. They probably had all the art though already done. So this, it could be just the case of we already have this in our back pocket. Like, why wouldn't we do this? Mm-hmm. So. And with the crowdfunding, they literally have nothing to lose. They'll just print however many people want.
Right. Christian Peterson has said in multiple interviews, like, they are a game studio and they're constantly innovating and trying to figure out what new spaces. So he said, hey, we will release new games essentially at some point. Yeah. There's been nothing but we will do this. I really think a lot of this first year or so is establishing people. I mean, even like Organized Play, they hired a guy like 2 months ago, or maybe it's longer than that now. But so you talk about like local store support, like they didn't even have someone like creating OP kits and connecting with stores because I mean they're a very small studio, and so like a lot of people have, I think, understandably said like we need like retail support. Because this game just won't grow without it being in local stores. And local stores aren't going to buy product to sell to non-existent customers. So I do think there is probably more of that coming next year. I just question, who's going to be.
Yeah, what local store is like super excited about stocking KeyForge
ironically,
again.
The store 5 minutes from me just announced they're doing a KeyForge event in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. Interesting.
So I'm probably going to go and see. Yeah, okay, well, who plays KeyForge around here? I think there is a level which, like, I am a little tired because I spent so much energy in the last place I lived, building a community, teaching the game. I'm not exaggerating numbers. I taught the game to over 40, 50 people probably in my time there, and built a consistent community where we could do local support. And I just starting from scratch is not something I. Whereas like a new game where like Star Wars Unlimited, I'm like. That's a lot easier to be like, hey, like there's already people checking this out. So I again, just the crowdfunding. I'm debating if I'm backing or not. I honestly, I'm not sure. I do love KeyForge, and the great thing about KeyForge because I played it a lot in the beginning, and then I stopped, and then I came back, and I started. So I've been able to like pop back in,
unplug and plug back in. And
because you don't have to track a meta and like collect cards. You just you can show up for a sealed thing and just like I know how to play this game, and
absolutely.
So there is a level which like.
So that's an interesting like thing that is a benefit to you as the customer, but I don't think that's to the benefit of the publisher, because you like want to keep your players sort of on the hook constantly in a way, right? Like if you're forced to keep up with the meta and continue to play, like maybe at some point you burn out and you're like done entirely, but it also like keeps you in it for as long as possible. And you need a critical mass of people who are like sort of stuck in it to sort of slog through some of the like less exciting periods. But okay, you mentioned that you don't know whether or not you're backing. So maybe we should talk about the first tier that they've talked about, and
I was going to ask one exciting. So I totally understand why they're doing the Kickstarter, the Gamefound thing. Like, it makes sense. There's no reason for them to make artificial scarcity like Magic has been accused of doing, or Lorcana is right now, where there's like underprinted. The one thing you don't want to do with this game is overprint it, because then you're just losing money. So it's easy to figure out how much you need to print when you do this. Makes sense. And they have no retail support because they backed their first one. Do you think this affects, if they come out with a second game, retail support for that second game, because they are doing all Kickstarter or Gamefound for this?
I don't think so.
Or because they're doing KeyForge, and KeyForge is kind of viewed as like not doing well?
I don't think so. And I think it's because people can like objectively look at like the nuance of what KeyForge is, which is like a game that they bought from another studio that they like tried to bring back. Like if they don't succeed at doing that, I don't think that like hurts their chances for the next game necessarily. Like I think most gamers, most people that are in this space, like think that KeyForge is a cool concept, right? And like think that it's innovative and interesting. Maybe they don't like the game, or maybe they're busy with other stuff. But I think if a new game of a similar type came out, I think it could capture the same sort of hype that KeyForge had at the beginning, which was a lot. Like, it was one of the top selling games the month that it came out,
for sure.
They sold how many decks? Like,
they've sold over.
We know how much money they made, right? So it's like, it's not hard to imagine that another game by. I mean, it depends on what the game is, but I don't think that this will factor too much into whether or not they're stocked by retailers.
So you say that the type of game, but Altered is a game that's similar, and I don't think it's going to have nearly the amount of like hype behind it.
No, I don't either. But I also don't think that it's as appealing for a lot of reasons. But we can get into that another time when there's more information about that game out.
Yeah, I think the advantage is you do have diehard KeyForge fans who will support anything and everything they do until this game is no longer published. For sure. So if the KeyForge publishers do, I think there is a natural, like, because we played Fantasy Flight games, it's a lot easier for us to, like, when Fantasy Flight says, "Oh, there's a Star Wars game," yes, we're suspicious, but we're like, we'll probably do it because they've proven they make good games. I do think they're setting themselves up well for the future.
Well, I'm not talking about from a player perspective for KeyForge. I was talking about from a retailer. And now, like, actually stocking it in your store and stuff.
So originally in the deal of buying KeyForge from Asmodee, there was if they were going to crowdfund, they couldn't do a retail pledge level,
and now they can,
which I think was a really bad thing. I think everyone kind of agrees, like, that was just a bad thing, and they've gone back to the table and negotiated so they can do that now. This project is coming out with a retailer pledge level, but I feel like
the question is it too late? I feel like it is too late.
I don't know. I don't think that it would have made that much of a difference with the first set.
It probably, I don't know. It would have, at least people wouldn't have that to point at to say that this is why we are where we are.
Yeah.
But
okay, so the first pledge level, as you mentioned, Mike, Reaper of Amber, $160, so $10 more than last time. But it's a little different than last time. So it comes with 12 Grim Reminders decks, so the new set, obviously. You choose a playmat with some art. The art looks pretty sick, honestly. They've got this new house guy story. They're like robot ghosts, basically. And then you get your personalized deck. So they did the thing that they should do, because KeyForge is the only game in the world that can do something like that. Like at KeyForge National Championships, I played a deck named after me, and like I can't say that about any other game that exists out there. The difference is now you can choose the 3 houses that go in your personalized deck,
which is great.
Yeah. So you've got Brobnar, Star Alliance, Equidon, Mars, Geistoid, Untamed, and Unfathomable. A lot of great houses to choose from. We're starting to get spoilers, so you can kind of see, all right, what are the powerful houses? I'm sure all of the personalized decks will have the new house in it, because,
yeah,
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I forgot that the new house was actually cool, right up my alley. So
yeah,
I might actually
I like the new house a lot.
I might actually back this just to get the new house.
I mean, they do have the co-op scenarios. They have the House of
they do.
Gormengeist or whatever it is,
which I still haven't played.
Which also, ironically, I'm the KeyForge guy, and I hate that kind of theme. So it makes it less appealing to me.
It's so funny.
I think this comes
so
from
cartoony.
My birthday's on October 28th, and so I always share my birthday with Halloween stuff, and it always bothered me. Maybe that's where this comes from.
That's so wild. Halloween is like by far my favorite holiday.
Yeah, because your birthday's not the same. Whatever. Okay.
At least it's cartoony. It's not like flesh and blood.
Yeah, where it's like gory and whatever.
Yeah.
So
like Casper or something.
You get to play Matt with your custom name deck. So when Mike forgets to name his, it'll just say Michael.
Yeah, it'll just say Michael on it.
Like 200 other decks out there, and then you get a personalized poster, like with all the cards in your deck and your name on it.
I don't want that.
It's literally rolled and packaged in a rigid carton for transport. I saw some people joking that like at the beginning of KeyForge, you're supposed to give your deck list to your opponent,
and so you
give them that.
You just open the poster and just
open it like a scroll.
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, it's. I guess it's cool. I don't know. It's different. And then stretch goals are coming. I do not want that. Whatever.
Yeah. If they let me buy one personalized deck for $20 to $30,
I would buy a package of it. I would buy like a pack of like 3. If they didn't offer a single one, offer like 3 or 5.
Oh,
sure. I would pay $60, $100 for 5 of them.
For sure. I specifically do not want any more playmats.
Yeah,
I just don't want them. I'm not going to back it if I have to be stuck with playmats that are just going to sit around. I don't want the poster, and I don't really care about the normal Grim Reminders decks. But if I can have a personalized Grim Reminders deck with the houses that I want, that actually is customized, I will buy it.
Yeah,
me too.
I would love to see it. I feel like I do feel like they would make a lot of money that way. I don't know how much money they would lose, like by offering a singular deck at a lower price compared to
just let people buy as many as they want. Like that, they'll print money.
Yeah,
they literally would, but I think they're locking it for a reason. Like they're making you pay to get.
Well, that way
everything.
You give them $160 for a playmat that's worth like
exactly.
I do wonder what their profit margin is on this. That they're not selling through a store; it's just going straight to them.
Yeah, it's we could probably calculate it.
Yeah,
not only that, but they're printing it themselves too. Right. So they're saving money by printing it themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're probably at like under $1 per deck in terms of the cost. They're probably maybe $2. They're probably at like $2-3 per playmat at volume.
Yeah.
The posters cheap. Yeah.
They're making some money.
Yeah.
They're not hurting.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, so if they do offer a pledge level where you can buy just personalized decks, would they be losing money? Do you think they would not have as many people back it at the $160 level?
Probably, but like they'll probably sell more personalized decks in volume to make up for it. Like someone might buy 10 personalized decks, but they're not going to buy 10 $60, $160 Reaper of Amber tiered level, whatever things. So
that's why they're not doing it right there.
Maybe.
There's your answer.
But I don't think that.
Do you think they would make up the money in people that will back it, that wouldn't have backed that 160, but will back just to get personalized decks?
Probably
make that money back.
Yeah. I think it's like close to an impulse purchase if you can buy a customized deck for $25.
Yeah.
It's not costing them $25 to make that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think
you have to factor in the man hours it takes to like follow through that scenario, but because it is a small company, but they obviously have done this before, so they know what to do this time.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what that process looks like.
It doesn't sound fun.
That would be a nightmare.
It has to be automated.
Parts of it, but you still have to package it, right? Like, even if it's automated, you have to move the stuff together and package it together.
Sure.
And make sure you have the right label on the box that's going to the right person.
Yeah.
Like,
were there any stories from the first set that people got?
There's
the
a few
ones?
people that got wrong stuff.
Yeah, people got
not
wrong
a lot.
stuff.
Bound to happen.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think it was a massive problem, but it definitely happened.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, any other comments on the KeyForge, or shall we move on to?
I'll say this: I actually really enjoyed the new set of KeyForge. Like, I thought it was actually legitimately fun.
That's because you crushed David every game that you played.
David. I don't like playing competitively, but I think casually it really is actually a pretty good game. I just can't get into it from a competitive standpoint. But I feel that way about a lot of games now. Like Lorcana, I feel the same way. So, but
that would make me want to bash my head into a wall.
But I think I like KeyForge more now than I did maybe like before Gen Con.
Yeah, I still, the concept of I can show up to a tournament with something that no one's ever seen, and I've played this deck, 50 times to learn its personality. You already ruined
it right there by saying you're going to a tournament.
Okay, but I'm saying for me personally,
I know.
The idea that I can learn how a deck works in a way that no one else can learn how to, because with Lorcana and all these other games, like you can play it so much, exactly
there's no such thing
outs.
as a mirror match in
right.
KeyForge.
Yeah, mirror matches are just the worst in card games, in my opinion. So the idea of just like, okay, I can go and no one else can copy me, and I can have some success, is a good day in my mind. So I actually really like the competitive side because I'm like, oh, I've done my time with this deck that no one knows, and I'm going to show up and hopefully do well. I had a blast at Gen Con Nationals playing my D House Physician deck, and that's an experience that I don't think will ever be replicated in any other set. So I do like casual,
they make another unique deck game.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did with Soulforge, but
that talk about DOA.
Yeah. Well, they're releasing a digital version apparently, so we'll see.
Where I think KeyForge falls a little flat for me is I don't think they pushed the envelope enough. They didn't go hard enough on like the unique aspect of the game. Like, have more Mavericks, have more different rarities of like ways that your deck would be unique. Like, that would be so much more fun to me. But I understand why
that's
they
what
didn't.
Tokens were. Like,
they were trying to be a lot more competitive with the game when FFG had it, when they initially released it. So I totally understand why they didn't do that. But like at this point, I feel like
just make it
lean
fun.
into it. Yeah,
make every deck fun to open.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Unchained stuff basically is. But
that's true.
That's a whole nother.
All right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
That's enough KeyForge. That was probably way too much.
That was our KeyForge for the month.
Yeah, for the year.
Okay, so we've got some Star Wars Unlimited news. This last week, we're not going to go into spoilers and some of the cards and all that stuff. We'll do that in another video. But at Spiel, right? That's how you say it? Spiel?
Yeah, Essen Spiel.
Big gaming convention across the pond.
The largest gaming convention in the world.
Yeah, I had no idea it was bigger than Gen Con, right?
It's like twice the size of Gen Con.
Which is awesome. So they had a pretty strong presence for the game. We got to see lots of news, including the first news is that the game, we got a release date, guys. We got a release date.
We haven't even talked about that.
March 8th, 2024. It's
go.
coming. March 8th.
I can't wait. We're going to figure out.
Pre-releases on March 1st.
We're going to figure out a way to be in the same place on March 8th, and we're going to play Star Wars Unlimited together.
And record thousands of videos.
Yeah. I really am conflicted because I want to build a local scene, though. And I feel like not being there for a local scene would be...
You should find out if somebody else is already going to do that and let them do it.
Yep. You live in Chicago, bro.
Yeah.
There's going to be plenty of people around there.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's fair.
Where I live, it's dead. If you don't play at some anime nonsense... then you might as well not be trying to play a card game around here.
So we've got the release date. It's official. We kind of, because of that artist tweet, we thought March would be a reasonable and I love that it's like right at the beginning. It's like, it's not like March 30th. It's
March 1st is going to be pre-release. A week later,
that's going to be that's going to be crazy.
If I don't open a showcase in my first pack,
you quit.
Yeah.
So they did a presentation, and there's a few things that we already knew, but other things that were kind of new. So I'm gonna go through these like very grainy like screenshots that we learned, and I'm just gonna fly through them real quickly, and you guys can interrupt if you feel like, oh, there's something there. So every set is a season. And Star Wars Unlimited pre-release is 1 week before launch. Weekly played 16 weeks of play, starting with the full release of the set. And then there's a store showdown, select stores around the world 1 month after the release, except for set 1, which is 2 months after the release.
Cool.
I feel like that was pretty typical.
Yeah. Is that how they did Destiny? Was there a store championship every set?
No.
There wasn't, right? It was like once a year almost.
It was more seasonal, right? It was like...
Was it
at one
that?
time there was 2 store championships a year, and then it was like one. It was like store championships were in like January through.
It was dog water.
They changed it all the time. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was awful.
It was hard to follow, but it is very cool that they're doing one for every single set. I like that.
I think that's cool too.
Yeah. And it's cool that the not local, but like the weekly play sort of like feeds into it in a way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so speaking of store showdowns, they gave us little details. Select stores will be able to host a store showdown event, so we don't know what that means. But
I've seen some people like
worried about it.
About it, but I don't know. I'm not worried until we have information.
Yep. It's intended as the first step for competitive play within the casual OP structure. Set 1 store showdown is scheduled for May 2024. So we've already got
nice.
There you go. It releases in March. Normally it would be in April, but for set 1, it's in May, which makes reasonable sense.
Probably because of they expect it to sell out and then a second wave to come the next month. So it gives 2 months.
That's
for people
actually
to get
some pretty legit speculation.
Is that not like the storyline? Like every time you see Star Wars Unlimited post anything,
I know
someone is in the comment section like, please don't Lorcana this stuff. Please don't mess this up.
Yeah,
it's hard to predict, man. That's all.
All right.
How much? I actually think there's going to, as the game gets closer, I think there's going to be a lot more hype building, and I think there's going to be a lot more people interested in this game than I originally anticipated. And if I originally underestimated it, I know they originally underestimated it. So I fully expect it to sell out.
I think
the first wave.
I wonder if people look at Lorcana, they see this game sold out really quick. These cards are worth a lot of money. what's the next
buy Star Wars Unlimited.
Exactly. Like, what's the
because
next game
it'll
that I
go
can
for
do that
money.
with? Star Wars Unlimited, and it's just going to get bought out by flippers and stuff.
And it's
It could
already
happen.
got so much collectability,
It
more
does.
than what Lorcana
I know,
does. So,
I know.
like, I mean, even just Hyperspace Commons could be worth money when it comes out if product is it's short. You know?
Ugh.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited, but I also really hope that we can get
and also
product.
nervous. And all
I'm
the
gonna be
things.
honest. FFG needs to hire me and Mike as hype man for their games because I can get someone hyped for a game.
I'm sorry, you just
in my
said you
blood.
and Mike. I'm not
Yeah,
in this
not you.
in this collective group. Okay,
Because the reason is because you only talk about KeyForge, so they can't hire you on anymore.
I don't even. I the last KeyForge game I played was Gen Con, Jay.
I'm
Oh
just
my
kidding.
gosh. Yeah. Anyways,
let's see
Store
the next
Showdown
slide.
product detail is one booster display of 24 packs, so that's cool. 32 participation promo cards, and then exclusive promos for judges, top 8, top 4, and champion. I always feel like they should give one for second place because it's like you get past top 4 and then like you lose in the championship. It's this whole like, oh, I'm just like the last loser.
What was it that you get at winner that you don't get at second place? I didn't hear.
It's an exclusive promo, it says.
Oh, and
Interesting.
second place gets Jack.
Well, they get top
Interesting.
4, but they don't. There's not a top 2.
There's not a top 2.
I think that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's probably fine.
Yeah, because
there's
it's
a,
like
if you guys decide to watch,
you get an extra
welcome to-
prize for every like stage that you win, right? So it makes sense. Like you're winning top 8, or you make it into top 8, you get a special prize. You make it into top 4, you get a special prize,
and then you
and
win.
you win.
And you get a special
No,
prize.
but you
if
go
you
from
win
top 4 to top
you
2.
don't get. Sure.
Yeah,
okay.
there's the finals. They, like I said,
I get it.
yeah. There's an episode of Welcome to Wrexham, which is my favorite show right now. It's like the real life Ted Lasso, and they did a whole episode about like how Wrexham like always finishes in second, and like they did this whole exploration of like celebrities who have like gotten second in like Oscar nominations, and like how you get this like complex of like you can never win. It's fascinating, and I was thinking about it in games too. Of like, yeah, there's a few people out there who might feel that way, but anyways, I digress. Let's keep going. The path to the Galactic Championship is the next category. Planetary qualifier. It's a store level event. Begins the journey for the Galactic Championship. So that's number 1. Then the next level is regional sector qualifiers, destination events run by our official partners. So come on down to Chicago, guys. Come hang out. There better be one here. That's all I gotta say. And then the Galactic Championship, which is the competitive season finale, where a Galactic Champion will be crowned, and that is run by FFG. And there will be more information later this month on all of that.
Couple things. 1, I get it, but I still am not used to the branded sort of names for all these things. I'm never going to remember which one's which. Whatever.
I don't
That's
know
fine.
what anything in Fab is.
Eventually I'll
None
get
of
it.
it makes sense.
And neither do I. Eventually I figure it out.
It's
The second,
Flesh and Blood makes way more sense than the Star Wars Unlimited.
I do agree with that.
does not.
Flesh and Blood is fairly straightforward. It's like, well,
Nationals.
it's
No, there's callings
No.
and battle
Hang on.
hardens. Like, what the heck does that even mean?
Those
Flesh-
are, but they're nothing. They're like
yeah,
it's not
those don't
part
matter. Those don't
of
matter.
it's like Road to Nationals,
World.
Pro Tour, World.
Yeah, see, I'm already
those
confused.
are the
Well,
ones
what
that
nationals
matter.
and road to nationals is 2 different things.
I think
Road to Nationals is a qualifier for Nationals. That makes sense.
Does not make sense.
I think they're both confusing. I think Star Wars is slightly more confusing to me right now because I'm not familiar with it. And I also, second point, I really, really hope that even though FFG is hosting the Galactic Championship, that it's not always in Minneapolis.
Yes.
Well, they don't own that center anymore.
I know, but it's still local and they don't have to go anywhere. And
They would rent it out, right?
they
could
would just rent the
it
center out. They know how to do it.
Okay, I know you have a thing about the cold, Mike, but
It wasn't even cold when we went. I just don't think that Minneapolis is like the most interesting city in the world. Like it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's in the middle of the country. It's like fairly easy to get to. It's like fine, but that area isn't that nice. Like there's like 2 hotels and they get booked up really quick and it's like whatever. And then you're 25 minutes outside of the city if you want to go get like, you know, something good to eat, all this other stuff. It's fine. Like if that is how it works, I can live with it. I've done it 3 times now or whatever, but I wish that they would have it in a more interesting place so that I can go somewhere and make more of a trip out of it. Except I'm probably not gonna be good enough to get into whatever the top is anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter.
We'll be covering it. We'll be on the media team. It's fine.
Well, I don't know.
I hope so.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No, I just like, I really like the game center because it's like you got food and drinks right there. You've got lots of like other supplies. Like everything is contained in like one little section, whereas like all those other places where these events are held, it's like you have a game store that can do stuff, but they don't have food and drinks. Like you've got to go somewhere else, or if a convention center is like too big. So it's just the right size in my mind for those kind of things. But maybe that exists somewhere else that I don't know.
Maybe
Team Covenant will host.
So
it
like
in their space.
Flesh and Blood, I hate to like compare everything Flesh and Blood, but they do a lot really well.
This is why FFG can't hire you, Jay. You only talk about Flesh and Blood.
But they do
organize play well, right? Like that is their
Pro Quest, their Barcelona
reason to exist.
Pro Tour, London. It's like all these awesome places. Like
that's true.
If they were like
it's part of the
World
appeal.
Championship, Minneapolis, I'm like, okay,
like, really though?
Fine, we can do it in Chicago. Everybody,
Chicago would be much better than Minneapolis, in my opinion.
Stay at my house. It's great. Fun.
No offense to anybody who is from Minneapolis or loves Minneapolis or is going to roast me for this. I think it's a fine city. Roseville, Minnesota is not Minneapolis.
All right, let's keep going. Says this is just the beginning. First year of content is about foundation building. Keep it simple so we can ramp up over time. Easier to add content later than to do too much too fast and get it wrong.
Smart.
100%.
So we consider Star Wars Unlimited evergreen. Initial design has already begun on set 7, which is year 3. Everybody.
Smart.
And concepts have begun through set 9. So
you guys remember when Star Wars Destiny came out and set 2 hadn't been designed yet? Or set 2 may have been designed, but it was certainly not
because Empire
tested.
at War was the first set where they like the game had been released and they were trying to figure out what to do, and then they still released Sabine.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
But Sabine wasn't broken until Plots came out a year later, or not a year, but
Sabine Ezra was broken from day one. But maybe. Solo Sabine was an enigma, and I'm very proud of you for creating that. Mike.
I don't even remember if I did, but I had a lot of fun with it.
You 100% did. No one was playing that trash. You showed up to a regional, and I don't know. I remember if you won or,
but it was very fun. No, I lost the regional because, a lot of reasons, but
was that the regional?
That was the
Oops, that's the thing.
Yeah, you remember when you lost to Unpredictable? You remember that, David?
I'm gonna stay happy on this podcast.
I remember talking
Jay.
About that a lot.
This is a happy podcast, Jay.
It was like a 1 in 6 chance. You go to the finals for this big, I don't know, it wasn't a regional, but it wasn't Worlds either. It was some like a Gen Con Nationals or something. And it was just like
Galactic Qualifiers.
Unpredictable.
It was Worlds. It was the first Worlds. I was running Vader Raider, and he had to. He had a 1 in 6 to get a range to connect the Balatique +2 to kill, and if he doesn't do it, then I'm through to the top cut, and I lost on the Unpredictable. Oh gosh, I'm having all this these emotions right now. It's fine. It's great. That card.
All right. So tell us what else is going on.
It says we have a 5-year roadmap that builds out additional product types and target audience considerations, and it's the largest dedicated staff of any game in our studio history.
Say that first sentence again.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this part.
We have a 5-year roadmap that builds out additional product types and target audience considerations.
What does that mean, Mike?
I think that this is like additional products such as what we talked about in a different video, which is like their version of a Fat Pack or Elite Trainer box or whatever. Like it's that plus other things, right? So they could do potentially, I I mean, I guess the starter deck is kind of like a dual deck already, but they could do, they could potentially do multiplayer things if that is the thing that they want to push at, you know, a certain point. They could do, like Flesh and Blood just did. They could do, I don't know, like collector boxes similar to the Disney 100 box that Lorcana's about to release. So I don't know. I get excited about this like product stuff. So I'm very curious to see what all that stuff actually is. And the fact that they have a 5-year plan is very, very good to see. And that they have 3 sets worth of cards in development at certain stages. Also great.
Yep.
3 years. So, did I say 3 sets? 3 years.
Yeah, 3 sets. You meant 3. Yeah, 3 years. So speaking of those things, the last little piece of this is their release cadence. It's like this little graphic. It basically says, you know, March, Spark of Rebellion is coming out. July, set 2, Shadows of the Galaxy comes out. And then November, Twilight of the Republic drops. So we got March, July, November release schedule for next year.
Does that line them up exactly with Lorcana?
No, because Lorcana's every 3 months.
Okay.
And Star Wars is every 4
certain
months.
times they will line up with Lorcana.
Yeah.
Because November this year, but not next year.
Every 3 releases, probably. Once a year, they'll line up at the same time.
Gotcha.
So I have to ask, with a July drop of Shadows of the Galaxy, obviously Gen Con in August is a big deal. So what kind of event do you think we anticipate for Gen Con?
Probably whatever the middle tier event is. I don't know. If you go back to the previous page, there was like not the Galactic Championship, but the one before that. I don't remember the names. It could be the regional one or whatever the other one is.
Regional sector qualifiers.
It could be just like
destination.
Like they have callings or whatever, and Flesh and Blood. It could just be like
whatever the version of that is.
Yeah.
Are they gonna do PTIs? Do you think? Like, do you think they're gonna do a Pro Tour?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it from this slideshow, but maybe that's what they are referring to when they're sort of starting small and then growing.
Is something like Nationals or Worlds going to be invite?
I don't know.
Or
did it seem like well, no, yeah, there is, right? Because it's a regional qualifier, and then it leads into the Galactic Championship or whatever, right? So it sounds like
Destiny was trash. You like submitted,
you could just go.
A lottery. Well, they did a lottery for however many players they were.
Yeah, because they had.
But that's also when they were still sharing the space with all the other FFG games year 1, and then it was Star Wars World Championship year 2. And part
of the problem with that too was that that was sort of the de facto like calling almost. If you want to equate it to Flesh and Blood, where it was like that was the place where people who were really into Star Wars Destiny sort of traveled every year to go and play. But if they do that as a different type of event and they keep the World Championship a bit more exclusive, then I don't know if it's as much of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like the KeyForge Worlds next month is invite only.
Yeah.
For the actual, but they have last chance qualifiers the day before, and then like a bunch of other events that are happening so that you can go watch or you can go play sealed or sealed pods events or whatever.
Yeah.
What company are they going to get to run their non-Worlds events?
Good question. They outsourced to someone for Galactic Qualifiers back in the day, but I don't remember what they were called or if they still exist. So I don't know.
Yeah, because that was everything before COVID. Who knows what?
Yep.
MinMax Games does some fab stuff. Star City Games does some fab stuff.
Yeah.
There's a couple others.
Well, I'm
wondering if they use any of those.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
It's a new company.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole news. I mean, for me, like it just gets me more excited. I mean, every time they say something about this game, I'm more excited. We obviously got some new cards. We saw an IG-88 leader. We saw Han Solo leader, and just some stuff that like building around these leaders got me really excited. So this is really exciting to me. What are your general reactions to all of this?
Can't wait. Mostly just excited to figure out what we're gonna do on release day. And you're not going to be able to weasel out of it, David. We're gonna.
Okay, but here's the thing, guys. Chicago O'Hare is like the hub of the country, so you can all fly to Chicago O'Hare with like no problem.
How that's going to work?
It's going to be so easy for you to get here. So just get here. I'll take care of the rest.
California is pretty nice that time of year. It's probably a lot nicer than Chicago in March.
Well, I mean. we could go to so many release events over the course of a weekend, you know.
That's true. That's compelling. All right. Well, before we go, you want to say something, Jay?
As a player, I'm really excited just to get product to play. I'm not like insanely excited to play competitively, but as a player or as a gamer that's going to be playing the game, I'm excited for competitive so that I could do like commentary over like finals or
fun.
like top eights and stuff like that on the channel. So
yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
I think that'll be really good.
That'll be a ton of fun.
That we should talk about that.
Hopefully they do a lot of streams for these events.
Yeah. I feel like
they always did do that back when FFG was running stuff pre-COVID. They always had streams at big events, and so because I do love that stuff too, like watching it back later if you're at the event, or if you can't go, feeling like you're there because you're watching all that. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, really quick before we go, I remember in the slideshow they had the 3 sets for 2024, and then next to it they had the 3 sets for 2025, but they had all the names redacted. So what do you guys think those set names are? Wrong answers only.
Wrong answers only.
So
all right. So I'm SOR thinking... starts year 1. Year 2 has to be Empire at War, right?
EAW. So it's going to be. But what is the name of that set? See, I'm thinking set 1 of 2025 is like Jar Jar, like the Shadow of Jar Jar or something like that. And the main chase card in the set is like Sith Lord Jar Jar Binks.
There it is. Yep.
Respect.
Yeah.
Which would make sense for an Empire or something. You know, it's got to be Empire.
I'll go with one of the sets will be called Shatterpoint, and it will just have like the most unplayable Mace Windu.
I love it.
Yeah. That would be if a whole set was just called like Gungans at War. And it was just like the Gungans.
Instead of Empire at War, it's Gungans at War. The entire set is just the Battle of Naboo.
Yeah.
The entire set.
Queen's Gambit.
There you go.
There you go. You're just like reading off Star Wars book names right now.
The final set is called Figurin Dan's Fun Time, and it's just the different musicians in all of Star Wars and
Max Rebo.
Yeah, the entire set is just around the new song mechanic that is brand new in card games.
Oh yeah.
I just can't wait for the Malakili's Pets expansion, where it's just the big.
I can't wait for the Malakili's Pets expansion. I always wanted him in Destiny, never got him in Destiny. So tragic. Fingers crossed for him in Star Wars Unlimited.
I really want like Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Last Survivor.
That'd be cool.
Cards.
Like, that would be sick if that was like if they had a set built around that.
Yeah, dude,
that'd be sick.
So
those games
awesome.
are
as
so
long
good.
as it had Mr. Bones in it, then I guess I'll play it.
He's not in those games, so
in that game.
I know, but I need something. Okay,
just learn how to play video games. Boomer.
My thumbs don't work. All right, this is a long one. We were like, oh, this will be a little shorter. No
my pre-workout has me like.
Yeah, Jay's face is getting numb right now, so
I'm ready to go work out.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out the other videos on the spoilers. But until next time, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.